Hi guys, today we are going to be doing something nice and simple that anybody can do in trading, and it is support and resistance levels. One thing I will say, the higher the time frame, the more respected it is, and it is a lot more easier to trade the higher time frames. However, it can be used on any time frame. I'm going to use the 4 hour as a quick example. So support and resistance is basically levels creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So it's points of interest in the market. So if you used to follow, for example, this dotted line here, I like to use, here we can see it's tapped into this level quite a few times. So what I tend to do is basically get your rectangle or your square, find somewhere that's roughly around all these levels. So let's use this nice big wick here, and I go from the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, and then I will just simply drag it from left to right just to make sure it taps in to as many of these as possible. If you're unsure as to where to draw your levels, you can go up here to bar styles and select lines, and it makes it just a little bit easier. If you're struggling with the candles, makes it just a little bit easier just to see where the market is going, where it has been. As you can see here, let's go here for example. So we've got 1 2 3, got a break, tapped in again roughly around this area. And then obviously if you come back to candles, you can sort of see that. So I'll switch back again, you can make that a little bit easier. So again, pick a point, either a higher high or a higher low, drag it left to right, and just like that you can see exactly where it's tapped into. So now what you would be doing is basically looking for a break and a retest above, or a break and retest below. So this is the 4 hour time frame for those that are watching. So a break and retest is starting from here. It's broke out of this zone, it's broke out, it's came back in, so you could consider a buy to the upside. Or on the opposite, it's in our area, it's come down, it's back in to our area of interest, and then it's coming back down to the downside. So here, for the most recent part, you could either be looking for a break up, retest, and then aim for these highs over here, or you could be looking for a push to the downside, retest, and then aiming back down here to all these lows. So that is a simple break and retest on support and resistance. It works with all time frames. Obviously, the bigger the time frames, as I say, it is a lot easier. It just cuts out all this. So if you drop it down, it just cuts out all these lots of candles that are just, you know, a little less respected as they are on the bigger time frame. So if you switch to the daily, let's just scroll back somewhere. You can see here, so it's tapped in, tapped in, tapped in. It did break, tap back in again. But if we was to say come over here somewhere, let's just use this candle, top of the candle, drag it across, you can see top of this wick here, top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, tapped in, broke, retested. It did push down a little bit, however, pushed up, tapped in, tapped in. So that is the way you are looking to do support and resistance. You know, just take a little bit of getting used to, but again, use your lines. As you can see here, we've got another one here. Makes life a little bit easier. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it just gives you a rough idea of where it is. So we've obviously got all these tap-ins here, tap-ins, tap-ins, and if you switch it back to the candles, you can see there. So it makes it just that little bit easier. So always look to the left. You can see over here, we've got all these tap-ins. Let's just switch to the line chart if we just want to make sure, if we're struggling to see the charts. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, just to make sure as you can tap into as many of these as you can. Magnetron making that a little bit difficult. So let's say all these tap-ins right there. We could go back further, but you don't want to go too far back. So we've got all these tap-ins, you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if you want to count that one. Switch it over to the candles, and as you can see there, made that so much more easier. And again, you would now either be waiting for the market to push up, back in, and out on those resistance there, creating support. So at the minute this is resistance, it's failed to push back up, but if it breaks up, it would then come back down, creating support, looking for a buy. Or if you wanted to, you could do this here, break, retest this support to the upside, and then you could either look for a sell to come back down to then go back up to the top. That is where you would use your analysis to decide whether you want to buy or sell. But that is simple market structure on support and resistance, looking for breaks and retests.